Yep. Why, hello there. It's good to see you guys. My dudes, my female dudes, and everybody in between. I've had a very intense couple of weeks. Well, not couple of weeks. I've had really kind of a couple of weeks, but a very intense week. Can't wait to get into the details and share that all with you guys. But as usual, this video, this series, revolves around painting. So that's kind of the primary focus today. Oh. I'm coming to you feeling very weird. Everything feels really intense. My brain feels like it's kind of stuck between radio stations at the moment. I can hear static, I can hear half of a song, I can hear half of a news station, and add in a little bit of a TV station in there with some visuals, and then you got how my brain feels. But, nonetheless, I am excited. I'm genuinely excited to talk to you guys today. There's been so much that's been bubbling up over the past couple of weeks, but let's just jump into the painting. Yeah, starting out with a little bit of buff white, because I want to try and separate this from the rest a little bit better. Just a little bit of on-canvas mixing. Nice. That purple landed on a spot I didn't mean it to land, but it was actually a better spot than originally intended. It separates this building nicely after we do a little bit of integration here in a little bit, and space play, but it is fun. Space play sounds like a sexual thing. Gross. Man, so here's where I'm at with this piece right now. As you can see right now, it is heavily worked. It is heavily worked. It has been worked over several days, which I think sometimes can be a really good advantage, but then sometimes it ends up making it so that the marks are detached from each other, and then you end up with something that feels like maybe overcomplicated, but maybe almost unrelated between the layers, where this one is kind of riding that line. It's not quite there yet, but I worry how much pushing I have left in this piece before it starts to become inevitably worse the longer that I work on it. I think that sometimes if you're spreading a mood all over a canvas, sometimes that mood isn't very differentiated because it's from second to second. So maybe the approach in this is each building, we don't design a skyline to begin with. We do a building per emotion. And potentially that could give us the differentiation between color techniques, or not color techniques, but color palettes that we need. And maybe that might be what I'm missing. And so potentially, I might even just take this purple and make it white. Then maybe a little bit later on, maybe I just work on this for a little bit, and then maybe a little bit later on, maybe tomorrow, maybe I just work on this. Potentially we have something. I don't know. It's an interesting problem. What else is an interesting problem is how god darn hot my ears are. I'm gonna go switch to earbuds. Okay, so while we're waiting for some things to dry and some ideas to marinate in the mind, I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about the craziness that has happened this week. First, I'm recording this the day after Christmas, so I hope you had a wonderful Christmas or whatever holiday you celebrate, if you celebrate different holidays, or a wonderful day if you don't celebrate holidays. But for me, I got to spend time with my wife and my son, and we opened Christmas presents, and we told them that Santa brought them for him, and he was so excited. He couldn't believe that Santa from Elf came and brought him Christmas presents. He can't talk, but you could tell that he was genuinely very excited. Gosh, I'm still hot. By the way, I am brand new to this whole formal wear thing. So if you've been wearing like white dress shirts and suits for a long time, and you have some tricks on keeping everything clean and well cared for, please let me know. For Christmas, I got a new watch. My wife got this for me. It's a CASIO ROYALE. CASIO, I think it's AE 1200, I want to say is the model number. An incredible watch in my opinion. It's like, for the money, I don't think you're going to get anything that has more functionality. It has a 10-year battery. It's a really cool watch. I love this thing. I like that. We'll move on from watches. I've been very interested in watches for a while now. Battery low, please charge. Headphones. Let's apply a little bit of white paint onto here like I was talking about. Damn, I didn't wait long enough. Now I just got a slightly lighter shaded purple. Darned my lack of patience. I shall be damned. I get really disappointed sometimes because this piece had a really good potential to it at one point in time, and I think that I've probably overworked it a lot. But myself, I try to look at this whole thing as painting as a verb, not as an adjective. We're not necessarily specifically mining finished pieces, but we're mining skill. I started painting a year and a half ago. I am brand new in this game, basically. And for me personally, I think the most important thing is to develop my skills as much as I possibly can. And what better way to develop skills than to just simply paint and overwork things and make mistakes? That's how you're going to learn the most in the concentrated amount of time. And then sometimes you come away with it, you just did it, you nailed it perfectly, and you just, matrix karate kick and everything is perfect. And boom, done. You get one of your best pieces that you can set aside for for a show or for a sale or whatever you want to do. But in the meantime, I think that the most important thing really is just you make misses, because those are the things that teach you. And then, sometimes you might even be like, well, this is really good, but it could potentially be better if I did a little bit more. Maybe doing that little bit more ruins it. But also, you never know what happens if you don't try it. Because then, for example, I had a vision in my head of what if I did like a really nice, built up subtle oil washes on the background. Well, I put it all together. I did a little bit too much blue. I put it on the canvas and I realized that the blue, even if I had gone through less blue, these colors were put together with the idea that they were against a white background. And so when I put a blue background in there, they become much more gaudy. And so then that teaches me, well, maybe if I want to play around a bit with a background like that in the future, maybe I start with the background. Maybe I start with giving myself a color to play against instead of trying to slap that on in the end. maybe that's a better option. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't have learned that if I hadn't had taken the risk of ruining the sky and making it overly blue, which it didn't even get ruined because I just painted over it with white back again anyways. So, yeah. My point is just that, like, learning, the importance of learning cannot be overstated, I think. I mean, maybe if you are a well-established painter and there's an extreme demand from your work and the only limit to the amount of paintings that you are selling is the amount of paintings you are completing, maybe your game becomes a little bit different during that stage in your career. But that's not the stage of career that I'm in right now, which is kind of a luxury. So I am using that time period to throw away as many pieces as I need to in pursuit of learning something real. You know what I'm saying? Thirsty Thursday, Thirsty Friday. Okay. Let's talk about the week a little bit. It's been a crazy one. So it's starting literally before the last video was published. It got kind of crazy. We had incredible amounts of wind here in Colorado, and it took the power out for us. And that's usually not that big of a deal, but I was in the middle of finishing editing my video, which was due the following day. And I maintain a very strict 9-day pace, releasing at 10 a.m. every 9 days. And I checked the outages, and the outages show that, well, the power is going to be out for probably multiple days, which, I mean, we could survive just fine, but the problem is I don't have a way to publish a video because I don't have a laptop. So we ended up renting a hotel for the night. And of course, as soon as we get to the hotel, the power company puts out a notice saying that, hey, power's back on. But anyways, as soon as we get to the hotel, I finish editing my video, I get it uploaded to YouTube, everything like that, get it scheduled and all that good stuff. Well, me personally, I like to sleep in the same spot every single night, and so instead of staying at the hotel, my wife elected to stay at the hotel because it was a nice break away from, you know, our usual house, but I wanted to stay in the usual spot. So I decided to go home and just make sure that our dogs were taken care of, that the heating was still working, that everything was still fine after the power outage. So I go home, and first thing I notice is that the heater's off, but I turned it off, so I turned it back on. I go to sleep, have a night, whatever. Fine. Wake up the next morning, the heater still is still not on, which is concerning. I open up the furnace area, I'll take a look at it. Long story short, the furnace is broken. No heating in the house whatsoever, which Colorado during December, not ideal, but we've been in a very warm streak lately, so it also wasn't the end of the world, no pipes frozen, nothing like that. Go and pick up my wife, come back, not the next day, but then the day after that, I get a whole cord of wood delivered because we need a way to heat our house, and we have a cast iron stove to be able to burn wood to heat our house, so that's what we're gonna do to heat the house. But a whole cord of wood is a huge amount of wood. It's not exact, it's like the world's most inaccurate measurement amount. A cord of wood is basically how much wood you can fit into a truck bed or a regular sized trailer. As a one-man firewood stacking team with nothing but a wheelbarrow to get upstairs, a wheelbarrow and a homemade ramp to get upstairs, it is a very exhausting endeavor. But I finished that in about 2 hours. I had plant harvest, I had to do some trimming, I had a whole bunch of different stuff. And it was just 4 or 5 days of like constant just stuff coming up. And finally it got a little bit more chill as we got towards Christmas. But the reason I was bringing all of this up in the first place is because I'm very proud of myself because I managed to have 0 FND episodes through the whole entire thing, which for me is like wild because it just it acts up at any sign of stress usually. And I think I'm starting to realize that, for me at least, I mean, I'm sure there's an amount where I couldn't come down by the end of the day, but I'm finding that if I can very consciously focus on winding down at the end of the day with a time variable upon the amount of stressors that I've had in that day, I can pretty well prevent episodes, because I went through that whole power outage situation with the hotel and the furnace going out and the firewood stacking and plant harvesting and all of these different things. I don't know. I think it's weird because during all of that time, I ended up taking 5 days off of paint. It was to the point where I just needed to make sure that I could bring myself down and land the plane later in the day, which honestly, I'm glad that I did, because, you know, it allowed me to get back to painting after those days. And actually, I think it was 4 days that I didn't paint for, but I say 5 because on the 5th day, I did paint, but it was only like 10 or 20 minutes, something like that. I feel so weird, man. I feel extra warm. I feel... Back to this piece. Okay, I'm looking at it right now, and I feel less bad about it than I did when I was just sitting there talking to you guys. I don't hate this. I think it feels like a lively neighborhood. And I think this is about dry enough that we can, well, maybe not quite yet. I used to do a lot more, I used to be very, very into weightlifting and CrossFit and things like that. And so that's why I have the exercise rack. But nowadays I mostly climb around on it like a little monkey. Album of the week. The album of the week this week is the CASIO ROYALE. Already mentioned it, but I love this watch so much. It's an incredible watch. Really, all Casio watches I'm a big fan of, but the Casio ROYALE for me hits that perfect sweet spot of, it's not like anti-try hard, because it has these like random like complications on the face that are just meant to look cool, but it's also extremely functional. And there's not that much extra bullshit to it. So it's, it hits that sweet spot to me of, looks like a James Bond watch, functions like an everyday watch that you would really need. You want a nice cheap watch, get you a Casio ROYALE. Well, my friends, we are approaching the maximum recording time for this video, so I'm going to call it right here. I've had an excellent day hanging out with you guys. These sessions are always really fun for me. I enter into them nervous almost every single time and come out of them feeling much lighter than before. And for somebody who their entire life has been very different and not very accepted by the people around them, the fact that I can come on here and be myself completely authentically and feel accepted is like genuinely a life-changing feeling. So thank you guys for giving me that feeling. But without getting too sappy, I'm gonna call it here. I'm gonna see you in 9 days. I hope that you check out the Casio ROYALE and the Ken Burns documentary of the Revolutionary War. It's really good. It's super long, but check it out. It's free on PBS. And with that, I will see you in 9 days. Peace out, my friends.